This is Ben from Q Car Care, and today we're going to talk about the different materials that you can wrap your Cybertruck with. The Cybertrucks have been coming in waves, and we're already at a dozen of them. Now, while the stainless finish is super cool, while there is definitely a utilitarian aspect to it, that's not what we like. Americans like their clean car. Yeah, the truck might look cool with mud on the side for a little bit, but in all reality, we want to be able to get it back to looking like new. And with the stainless, that's just really hard. It's almost impossible to get clean to the point that I'm proud of it, right? So no matter what I do, there seems to always be a fingerprint or a bug mark or a stain or a small scratch, and I just can't get rid of that. And you need to not be worried about what your car is going to look like if you're ready to live with this type of finish. Part of the issue with these panels on the Cybertruck is, yes, you can buff them out, but to buff them out properly and to get an even, what they call a flat finish, is super difficult. So, for example, this panel's got a scratch in it that runs all the way along it. I mean, there are just so many different nuances as to why this stainless is a complete pain in the butt to take care of. And because of all that, you can expect to see the majority of the Cybertrucks that you see on the road wrapped. So now I'm going to talk a little bit more about the three different materials that you can wrap your Cybertruck with. So there are three different primary materials that we've seen all these different trucks wrapped in. Those three materials are going to be vinyl, colored paint protection film, and clear paint protection film. Now they are all a little bit different and have different pros and cons. So vinyl is going to be the least expensive way. You're going to have the most options in terms of color, and it's really flexible. So we can get vinyl done quickly, and it's also the most cost effective. So from a durability standpoint, vinyl is going to last, I tell people, you can assume for 2 to 3 years if you're keeping it in an outdoor environment. But vinyl is going to look almost just like paint, and again, you can pick basically any color you want. The second material that I've got is going to be a colored paint protection film, or colored PPF. What the colored PPF is it's our nice thick protective material that we've been putting on cars for years, but it has an actual colored pigment. So this is gloss black PPF. You can also get it in a multitude of different colors. Now, there aren't as many options as, say, vinyl, but again, still a great way that you can customize your truck. Now, colored PPF is going to act a lot more like paint or even more durable, whereas vinyl is going to be a little bit more fragile. So colored PPF is going to react just like a factory paint job. It's going to look like a factory paint job. There's going to be little to no orange peel. Again, that does come at a bit more of a cost. So if you're trying to maintain the stainless look that Elon intended, then a clear or satin paint protection film is going to help you do that without having to worry about all of the stuff that comes with a raw stainless finish. So the fingerprints, the staining, all that stuff isn't going to happen to the PPF. PPF's super easy to take care of. It's scratch resistant, puncture resistant, super easy to keep clean. So why is it over this window? Because I want to show you guys the difference in the durability of the material. So I've got this pair of tweezers, and I'm going to show you guys the difference between poking through vinyl, colored PPF, and clear PPF to show you the difference in durability. So I'll start first with the vinyl, which will be the easiest to rip. Second, I'll do the colored PPF, which will be harder. Third, I'll do the clear PPF, which will be hardest. All three of these materials are great for customizing the Cybertruck in the way that you want it to look. The durability is the biggest difference. Now, that to be said, vinyl wrap it's not terrible. It's just not as durable as these colored PPFs, and the price is explanatory of that. The Cybertruck is a whole new way for us to showcase what we can do with these cars, because there's a customization aspect to wrapping them that's super exciting to me. So yes, the Cybertruck looks super cool in its stainless finish, but wrapping it in whatever color that you want is the coolest thing in the world to me. And we know that we're gonna be seeing a ton of these. I love my Cybertruck, and I know that owners are gonna wanna keep them for years. So the ability to kind of change it up is pretty cool. I just had to stop and pause and look at this new Model 3 Performance because this is so cool. So this customer actually tracks the living daylights out of this car. So you can see he's got big Stop Tech brakes, he's got forged wheels on it, it's already lowered and cambered out, and it's here for a Nardo gray vinyl wrap. So this thing's gonna look as well as it performs, but so cool to see somebody this dedicated to tracking a Tesla because this car is an absolute beast. That being said, the suspension and the brakes might leave a little bit to be desired, but not on this one. So this thing's super, super sweet. Tesla and Q Car Care has been a thing since we opened. So I started working with Tesla back in 2014. It was 2 years after the Model S had come out, and it was actually our first full body wrap, and that was on a Tesla Roadster. So how cool is that? The first car that we ever did a full wrap on was a Tesla Roadster. Throughout the years, we actually worked with Tesla Corporate to detail their vehicles, their customer vehicles, their loaner vehicles. And as the Model 3 started to come out, I knew that there was going to be a big push and there was going to be a lot of Teslas in this area. So I actually got one myself, and I started to understand why people love these cars so much. So since we started since we've opened, I'd say we've worked on over 1,000 Teslas. And it's really cool because I've watched kind of the evolution of the company. It started off with, again, the S, and then the X came with the crazy doors. And then the Model 3 came, which made it more attainable for so many people. And then the Model Y came, which is just kind of the car that everybody wants. Now the truck is here, and that's something that I've been waiting for years. I placed my order within minutes of the announcement and was fortunate to have one of the first ones in the state. So I've put over 5,000 miles on my Cybertruck in just over a month and a half. So I can give an impression of how good the car is. And that's the thing. It's really, really good. There were my skepticisms. It's Tesla's first truck. The first model run is sometimes a little bit iffy, but man, this thing is awesome. It rides really well. It's quiet. It's super easy to drive. And I think that's actually the biggest point that there is to make. You'd think that the craziest thing about the Cybertruck is how it looks. It's not. It's how it drives. Because having a car that has steer-by-wire totally changes the amount of effort that you have to put in when you're driving. This steering wheel only turns basically one turn lock to lock, which when you're out on the road and you're driving a huge truck, makes it so much easier to drive. Now, that being said, it definitely took some getting used to. I almost hopped the curb when I picked up my truck. I walked in there like Mr. Know-It-All and probably shouldn't have. That being said, once you get used to it, you get back into another car and the steering feels like it's broken. So this is definitely the future. There's some other stuff on here that is definitely the future too. I mean, having this gauge cluster in the center seems like totally foreign when you're not driving the car. Once you've had it for a week, you don't think twice about it. I mean, everything's just right there where you need it. It's super intuitive, super easy to use, and it's quick, right? So it's like, again, there are so many things to this car that are different and that feel unfamiliar, but it all just kind of works. And I mean, I got to give credit where credit is due. This is an awesome truck and it's an amazing daily driver. So one of the most impressive things to me about the Cybertruck was its bed. This is a real truck. So people, when they walk up to it, they don't know that, but this retractable tonneau cover and the tailgate, I mean, this opens up. This is awesome, right? Like you've got so you have a 6-foot bed, you've got width, you've got high sides, you've got the retractable cover. Again, I've had the truck for a month and a half. I'm using this pickup bed way more than I ever did in any other truck. You also have a storage floor underneath here, which is great for if you don't need stuff rolling around in the back. So again, just more examples of that. They were really thinking about it when they put this together. So when the Cybertruck first came out, we were able to have a senior Tesla tech come out to our facility, and we spent a few hours with him. That enabled us to be able to figure out how to wrap this thing best. So there are a few parts that you want to take off this car to wrap it, and that would include the window moldings, the mirrors, and all of the fender flares need to come off so that you're getting the right coverage of the panels. Now, there's been a lot of discrepancy. Do you wrap the panel? Do you shave the edges? You know, we will go with whatever the customer prefers. That being said, our recommendation is to shave the edges. That way you don't have to worry about any sort of lifting or anything like that occurring in the future. And when you wrap the car, that also opens up the possibility to do basically any color you want. You can do all sorts of personalization stuff. So for example, on my truck, I embossed my company logo. I've got the company logo going down the whole side. I did this black accent on the top. And again, the possibilities are kind of endless there. We also recommend tinting the Cybertruck because there's a lot of glass. So cleaning the Cybertruck is definitely a challenge. And if you're not gonna wrap it, I do have some tips on things that you can do to keep this truck clean. So the material it's just like your fridge at home. So it's gonna mark up like the fridge at home, and it's difficult to get it perfect, right? So in terms of your normal washing, I actually recommend using a rinseless wash on the Cybertruck because for a few reasons. Number one, you can't bring this thing through an automated car wash. Ask me about one of our first clients that came in. He ended up with his truck on the back of a flatbed, and actually they had to take the charger off the wall because he ran it through an automatic car wash and that bricked it. So anyway, rinseless car wash is the way to go. If it needs a deeper clean, we typically recommend using an iron remover to get all the more stubborn stains off. So that's gonna be a product like an Iron X. That being said, that is the best way to clean it. Let me give you the warning that that product smells, and because it has sulfur in it, and it smells like sulfur. So it's not awesome to work with, but it definitely is the most effective way to clean these panels. There's no sort of clear coat or anything on the panels, so they do oxidize. I understand that was Elon's intention. It does start to look pretty unsightly after just a few hundred miles. There are different stainless protectants that you can put on after the fact. I haven't found anything that I would personally recommend. However, the products do exist on the market, and it will help with that oxidation. It will help with fingerprints a little bit. My biggest problem with the stainless protectants that I've got is that they're kind of blotchy. So again, if you want to reset your Cybertruck, my recommendation would be a rinseless wash paired with an iron remover, and that's going to get you down to a super bare surface. A clay bar is not going to work as well on this. You're going to need a hyper aggressive clay bar to get the bite that you need to get into the surface. I've even gone so far as using steel wool on some parts to get it out. You need to be careful with what grade that you use, but I mean, again, we're cleaning a fridge, right? So it's difficult to clean. I've heard of some people using Barkeeper's Friend. Again, I've had issues with blotchiness after I've done that. So stick to the rinseless wash and Iron X. I know that the smell is tough to deal with, and if you really don't like it, just get it wrapped. That's vinyl. That ripped. Fuck. Damn.